trade Julio Jones, they're never going to be the same. Like, what good can come from trading Julio Jones? Tell me. That's actually kind of intriguing. No. It'll never be the same.
What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown, and if you're new here, welcome. And I guess I should welcome myself back to Rise Up Rundown after disappearing on you guys last Friday. Sorry about that. It was just a very busy weekend, but I am back. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the Julio Jones situation once more. Now, I do realize that this video is going to be released on June 1st, and everyone's kind of saying that the decision on Julio is, I guess, somewhat being decided on June 1st or whatever. So if any crazy thing happens to Julio Jones today, please know that this video was recorded before those events. And also, I cannot lie to you, if Julio Jones does get traded to the Titans or the Patriots or wherever he goes, whatever I say in this video is going to be exactly how I feel if he gets traded to another team. So if you ask, what are your thoughts on Julio Jones getting traded to the Titans or whatever, like, just look at this video. These are going to be my exact same thoughts. And how do I think Julio Jones is going to play on his new team? He's going to be phenomenal. Okay, so I will say, a lot of you guys actually kind of seem to be in somewhat disagreement with me in my last video going over Julio Jones and why I think it's actually a mistake if the Falcons get rid of him. Surprisingly, a lot of people seem to actually want to move on from Julio Jones. And I guess I am a little bit in denial. I really don't want Julio Jones gone. I want him to get a ring with us as well. But whatever, I guess I did have time go by, and I'm kind of looking at the positives here. So, what will happen to the Atlanta Falcons if Julio Jones gets traded? Obviously, there are some bad things that will come out of this, but there's also some good things that I did notice could happen for the Atlanta Falcons, and it's actually definitely more positive than it is negative. But I, at the same time, also have 3 bad things that could happen, 3 good things that could happen. Let's start with the bad first, and I'm actually going to skim through the bad things real quickly because whatever I've been saying about Julio Jones in my last few videos about him is actually exactly what I have to say here in the what bad will happen category if we trade Julio Jones. Every 3 thing I said, from you lose your top player, you lose the leader on the team, you lose your clutch weapon. Spoiler alert, that's actually all the 3 bad things that will happen if you lose him, but I guess I will just quickly go into detail on why that is. So what bad will happen if Julio Jones gets traded? You do lose your number 1 player, especially if you're truly in this win now mode. You lose that top player if you want to win now. I don't really care what anyone says. I think Julio Jones is still the top player for the Atlanta Falcons, obviously if he stays on the team heading into 2021. Because it's like, what does he need to improve on? Like, Calvin Ridley could maybe be a little better when it comes to jump ball catches, and I haven't really seen him become clutch in any game. He just puts up numbers, which is great, but he hasn't really been clutch, and sometimes he tries to get cute with the ball a little bit instead of doing his job. And then Matt Ryan, I saw him struggle a little bit in those game-winning drives last year. Just what does Julio Jones need to improve on? So that's why I think he's the number 1 player if he stays on the team heading into the season. But if he gets traded, you have officially lost your number 1 player. And then the second thing you'd lose is you'd lose the biggest leader on the team, or the biggest impact on the team. Now, don't take this as I think there are no other players that could step up as the leader, and I'm not even saying that there are no other leaders on the team. I'm just saying that Julio Jones is the leader, like the biggest impact and the biggest leader on that team. Maybe not to the coaches, apparently, since there was drama back then, but to the players, I think it definitely showed. Obviously, in 2019, before the bye week when we were 1-7, Julio Jones had this big locker room speech, and that really motivated the team to keep going, and they won 6 out of 8 games to finish off the season. And then in 2018, when Julio Jones got his first touchdown, all of the players, even from the sidelines, congratulated him. You never really see any other player on the Falcons get as much of an impact and as much praise than Julio Jones does. Now, Matt Ryan is a leader, Calvin Ridley is a leader, Grady Jarrett is a leader, but to me, I just simply don't think they are as big of an impact as Julio Jones is, but that is just my opinion. And then the third thing that could happen that's pretty bad is you do lose your clutch weapon. Like, I'm just going to be real with you. There was no player last year, except for maybe Younghoe Koo. There was really no, like, extremely clutch player on the Falcons last year other than Julio Jones, but, you know, it doesn't matter because Julio Jones was only in 2 game-winning drives. Now, okay, sure, the Falcons did lose both of them. The Chiefs game, Younghoe Koo did miss a kick, and then the Bucs game, we just kind of made some terrible play calls. But to me, when Julio Jones was not in the other 4 or 5 game-winning drives, the team really struggled to even go down the field. Like against Tampa Bay in Week 15, I think, the offensive line really struggled for whatever reason. And then against the Bears and the Chargers, Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley just simply couldn't really connect to go down the field. It was really weird how unclutch they could be. But Julio Jones, throughout the years, he's always been Atlanta's clutch weapon. Like, look at the 49ers game in 2019. Julio won the game for them. In 2019, again, the Eagles, Julio Jones took a screen pass all the way to the end zone. Now, granted, Jake Matthews was also part of that clutch play, but still, it is impressive to see a wide receiver take a freaking screen pass all the way to win the game. So, to me, I think you do lose your top clutch weapon. Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley are great, but I'm just, in my opinion, I'm not ripping on them. I just didn't see them become clutch in 2020. That's just all I'm saying, and I'm hoping that they can change that, but Julio Jones, to me, was clutch. Now, what good will happen if you do trade Julio Jones? On the bright side, new guys will be given an opportunity, and they actually could develop here. Calvin Ridley already developed, but he could get even more opportunities, so that's good for him. Obviously, you could develop your first-round pick in Kyle Pitts, and then Russell Gage could be given more opportunities, and I think surely he'll develop as well. Hayden Hurst even. And then even other receivers like Olamide Zaccheaus and Christian Blake. I mean, forgive me, I don't remember if Christian Blake is still on the team or whatnot, but, you know, whoever we have at receiver, Frank Darby, like, I'm not saying that the receivers when Julio Jones was in the game weren't given a chance necessarily, but I think it's safe to say that when Julio Jones is out of the game, our other receivers are given more of an opportunity than when he is in the game. I think that's pretty safe to say. And Frank Darby, Olamide Zaccheaus, Kyle Pitts, blah, 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 they could all be given a huge opportunity now that Julio is not going to get as many, well, no, he's not going to get any targets if the Falcons trade him. So you do have a lot of new guys coming in to try and become, not necessarily the new Julio Jones, but just some new familiar faces to root for in the future, and just some new names to root for in general. The second good thing that could happen with this is there's more cap space and freedom to build a team. Thomas Dimitroff did give Julio Jones a contract extension in 2019, and now we are kind of in cap trouble right now. And just in general, keeping Julio Jones on the team would kind of limit you from building a team. And if you release him, you don't really have that much cap space trouble, I guess. Now, I don't think it was necessarily a mistake from Thomas Dimitroff to give Julio an extension. I will forever kind of give Thomas Dimitroff a little more credit than he did. I feel like he gets a little more flack than he should. Yeah, he's made some bad decisions, and the Julio Jones contract extension in 2019 it just so happens to kind of be looking like it was a mistake from him. But at the same time, I kind of didn't blame him because they were also in a win-now mode in 2019. Of course, they want to keep Julio Jones. And there were some other good things that Thomas Dimitroff did as well, like getting A.J. Terrell and even Alex Mack. There were some good things, but that's for a different time. If you release Julio Jones, I think you do have a little more freedom to build a team instead of worrying about keeping this guy, even though he's probably not going to be in the league for much longer because he's entering his mid-30s pretty soon. So you have a lot more receivers to work with an awesome quarterback. And then the third good thing is there's a new story. There's a new story to look forward to as Falcons fans instead of, oh, can Matt Ryan and Julio Jones get revenge on the 2016 Super Bowl, 2017, whatever. Yeah, now that Julio Jones is possibly getting traded here, I think we can officially erase that 2016 revenge story. That will never happen. It never was going to happen. I'm just saying. But there's a new story to look forward to. Like Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot are going to work with their own guys here in a way. Like they're going to work with Kyle Pitts and some other receivers down the road they're probably going to draft. See if they can get Matt Ryan back to 2016, 2018, 2014, 2012 form. Not that Matt Ryan was bad necessarily, but you know what I mean. Just get him back to that. Somehow, whenever he gets this elite tight end, he goes to the playoffs kind of Matt Ryan. There's a new story to look forward to. Matt Ryan, can he win the Super Bowl with new guys around him, a new coaching staff, new receivers? This is going to be interesting, and I think the Falcons actually did need that. Sometimes you actually need a refresher to go far. Like, instead of, we need to get revenge on 2016. No, instead it's like, okay, we hardly have any of the players from 2016. Now, what are we going to do? So now we can kind of move on from that story. We can kind of create something new here, and I think the Falcons just needed a bit of a refresher, but that can't speak for my life. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Other than that, I will see you guys with a video this Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Love and appreciate you all for the support, and as always, rise up.